All right, so with them, just like I will be explaining you now, of course, right now we get a special guest we get for talk to with today exclusively. Of course, this now a person way not new as far as the Sierra Leone politics is concerned and as far as development in Sierra Leone concerned. This is not somebody where they stand up to the incumbent government, the incumbent political party in Sierra Leone, the All People's Congress. And of course, I know they talk about any other person, and they talk about somebody where you're familiar with. And then Mr. Mohammed Kamarimbai Mansaray. I get for talk to we today from Maryland in the United States. Of course, Asidena also on a visit. You know, Sinamana Sierra Leone a day, and so Idena for visit we. So now an opportunity for let we go able for talk to a brother like this, where possibly go be with next president na Sierra Leone. Hello, Mr. Mansaray. How are you doing, sir?
Thank you. I did do very well. I'm so happy and excited for La Day today. And like I said, a very, very season greetings to all listeners and viewers and compliments of the season.
Right. And so we very much delighted as usual. Anytime we bring you come for talk to you, we are very much delighted. Of course, we know say you just come out salon, come. So we know one for West Ham for talk to you exclusively about Sierra Leone. And so, waiting at the state of affairs in the country, like how you left them, waiting at the message where you go able for give about Sierra Leone.
Thank you again. And the message now Sierra Leone right now, especially when I left the country, Salon the bleed. Salon down the country where the majority of Sierra Leoneans them not can afford even waiting for eating a morning. They're not able to afford for take them picking to a better school in the country. The cost of living is so high. I left the dollar now is almost close to 800,000 leons per $100. It's 8,000 leons per $1. That's how bad. The bag of rice is about 250,000 leons. The fuel now per liter is about 6,000 leons. The unemployment rate, the people who will not get work in Salon, they're over 80% of Sierra Leoneans that not get work in the country. This is how pathetic, this is how bad, this is how miserable this current APC government, after 9 years of President Ernest Bai Koroma in governance, now this you don't left the country and the people them. You know, it saddened me when you see all over the country where they go villages them, where they go towns, where they go chiefdoms, where they go now the cities them. The people all they can say is, we just want to get food now plate. We just want you able feed with picking them. We just want to go outside with the sleep. So the most basic things then, where you say the most basic food and shelter. We say for sleep and waiting for eat. The average majority Sierra Leoneans are not getting. And there is no prosperity, there is no better life if you not champion those two things. We say more man the sleep because it get good health, mosquitoes them and the rain season go come not to leak and all the diseases there, and good food. So those are the two major things the way this government and the past SLPP government don't fail the people them of this country. So if you ask me, just in a snapshot about what's in the current affairs, Sierra Leone they bleed, it bleed, and it bleed.
Wow, you know, very recently we talked to the Minister of Tourism and Cultural Affairs, Mr. Sidia Tunis. It paints a completely different picture from waiting you don't tell we. It tell we say the austerity measures they've been introduced because it been necessary, because the government not be able to afford the subsidy anymore for fuel, and so that the people are getting along well, that people that they travel around, that it not hit them very too much, like how you don't explain. And so I want to focus on the area of transportation. We don't really say problem don't come now, you know, especially with transportation, wherein the transportation costs don't go high, and that drivers, they not get change for give passengers them, because they don't put the transportation cost to 2,000 leones or even more. So where passengers, they don't pay this, once they don't count on, the driver not get change for give them, they run with imotoka. So I want for let you tell we if how the ordinary civilian, they actually handle this issue of austerity measures na Salone.
These austerity measures na sham. From what I mean sham, na just a fake way for fool the people of this country. And also for really pacify the international community for say the APC government to do something. 9 years in governance. This is not to today. In fact, if you for being get some of the recording where I don't do with you, you interviews them before, you go see years ago, 3 years ago.
Right.
Me myself, a leader and chairman of the Alliance Democratic Party, a presidential candidate for 2018. I call on the president and this APC government, say then they misuse your economy, the corruption so blatant, and the country they can go down because Sierra Leone, we economy, where we get we all money in the country. This government, over 60% of we money in the country, then just they pay themselves salary, bonuses, and you know benefits, buy mutka them, then $80,000 Land Cruisers them for the drive. No country not they survive and be a better country when you they spend 80% of your income, over 60% of your income just for pay yourself. So waiting left, now about 35% or so, and then go for pay the, because this president don't lend over $6 billion from 9 years ago will be. So we go for pay then debts then they, and then money not go for left for make this country. It don't when maybe don't call on this president since 2013 to 14, before even the Bola come, now say this country here, it go down, and this president, in motorcade when I motorcade alone, it get over 20 motorcade or more to 30 waking pass go up and down, where they go walk or go up and down, where the whole country, the ambulance they will be get, now about 6 or 7 ambulances them, before the Ebola come. Right. How a country, you motorcade, you and the vice president, when I get over 20 to 30 motorcade, Land Cruisers, 80,000 motorcade, they go up and down, Mercedes Benz them, when the whole country, the ambulance is about 7. So you don't see where we don't talk, say, this country need austerities or whatever you want to call it now, but 1 year to when the one left, now the 10 the one can fool the people and now say, oh, they can't do austerity measures. No, this was 5 years ago, 7 years ago, 3 years ago, 6 years ago, we get the same problem where they go on at the country. It just not happen just all of a sudden. In fact, waiting count in there when the president in September or so, it count with over 50 entourage in Aminaya, we say they spend over $1 million US. It charge a one old plane we can sit down in New York for a couple of days for wait for until where the convention done, or and I return back with the plane. So those are the kind of things we maybe call on this president and the government, say that they misuse we country, we economy, and that make now not too long, then go begin to say, oh, we cut down on travels, we do this. This, like I tell you, this is all baloney. This is all a way where they want fool the people of this country. But when me na the voice of the voiceless in that country, I can always come for tell people in the truth. So these austerities measures, like way you act, so it's not just, it's just a drama, then just the act. What in this APC good at? Now for act. Right now you see the ministers and they travel, they went to share them for take pictures and send them on social media, then they go do this, and then just the act, then just the launch. What's in the launch? 9 years, we know they see nothing. You go over and say, oh, the youth program, where they can't launch a youth village. There's no youth village. Where they can't launch this. There's nothing. Then just they fool people them, and then rhetorics, we don't so much. And I tell you, enough is enough. The people of this country, they don't tire, and no amount of foolery, no amount of technique for come act go work again. So like I say, the country don't get sense, the people is smarter, and come 2018, then go make a better choice for remove the APC and put ADP, the Kamarimba State House.
And so, Mr. Mansare, you know, we can talk to APC government officials, including the presidential spokesman, you know, the ministers in government, the secretary general of the party. You know, they can always say, you know, other countries there around the world don't introduce austerity measures because then look at and say it's necessary for a country. But then when we look at some other countries, then where they introduce austerity measures, where they see then leadership, they take responsible actions then for proof to the citizens then for say they mean them by either riding transportation, I mean passenger transportation, flying, you know, passenger planes and stuff like that. From your observation at the country, you don't see anything like this on the part of the government operatives for say, then they do things then where the lay Sierra Leonean go look at and talk, say, you know what, them man, they are then accept they suffer just like how they suffer. Then they take the austerity measures seriously.
Absolutely not. My brother, this, like I say, the austerity in a provocative term and then come for just fool the people of this country. They're not taken serious. Let me give you a breaking news. I just, this morning, I received a copy of an invitation where they go on today, na McKinney, where the APC Secretary General, in courtesy of the President, and it's by Koroma, then they launch a fundraising. Guess how much they charge for just inside that hall? Now $1,000. This is not the 5 million leons. 5 million leons per person for just inside and say they want to raise money for go build the $2 million office with a different plan for Bill na McKinney. This is just a breaking news to you now. Wow. It then gets now, like I tell you, the president tonight. Then they there now as we talk na McKinney, where every minister, deputy minister, honorables and directors, commissioners, they all get for go pay that 5 million leons. And the Secretary General did state, say 5 million leons for entrance. So if these people are more serious, how then go tax ministers, deputy, whatever, 5 million leons, when are close to almost $1,000 just for go say that they raise funds to themselves. Then I want, let's come back to another things where they see how this government, they use loose words just for fool the people like austerities. Like you say, then the president still they continue in convoy, the VP then they go up and down. Then they just don't hire another youth aide in office because he pulled by Mahmoud when I be the presidential youth aide, they make a minister of youth. And not too long ago, after the austerity measures, he appoints another one at that position. They just no. There's a lot of things that will not change at all. Like I say, they see ministers I just they see ministers they party, so they go Saudi Arabia, they take pictures them. You they see you know, then just they do things that will not ever change. You know, like I tell you, those are the kind of things where you they see where this country, this president, then just they lose those words for fully pull them. The people who they suffer now the ordinary Sierra Leoneans and at the street, we're not getting for eat, we not get transportation means for go one side because like how you talk so, we said they pay 1,000 and 2,000 leons, and then like how you say it's just so much to a point that way right now the people are hopeless, and right now the people are just the wait for savior. I they return back the 7th of January na Freetown. People they can't wait for can receive me all over the country. For me they can receive me from Ferry Junction by Upgon and that. They go with me all the way to my office na 30 Road the street. The people and just they call, they send me messages they don't tire, and they don't tire because this APC government don't completely fail them, and they not get hope with the SLPP government because right now SLPP just they fight their own shadow. They not get direction, they not get leadership, they not even get a focus. So because of that, the only right now presidential candidate now the whole country now me winner Mohamed Kamarimba Mansare. So that show how serious the Alliance Democratic Party be. That show you how serious me Kamarimba for ready for taking, because no other political party will they look at 1 year to election, because the election they get in February of 2018. No presidential candidate, not in any 11 political party, but Mohamed Kamarimba Mansare. This just show, indeed, God willing, come 2018, I will be the next president of Salon.
Right. We like your optimism, Mr. Mansare. And so we get for can talk about your candidacy exclusively per this interview. But let us deal with the national government first. You know, when they look at one of the areas the way the APC government don't dwell on so much for the past 9 years, where they always tell people that, in fact, I one musical artist, MSC, where they sing, and they talk, say, any question where you ask the government and say, you know, see what make road, you know, see what make road. So this road construction are one of the areas the way they don't dwell so much that now one of the things the way they don't do, that they don't ignore all other areas. And when we look at whether they make them roads here for Sierra Leone under the APC government, now China, and most of the Chinese stuff they see, not to things that were durable, not to things the way they last. So based on the fact that they travel right around the country, they travel on them roads, then the way they see them roads then, and also you know to engineer. But you feel saying that roads then we get for last in Sierra Leone, thinking about the fact that we not get the capacity for maintain things the way government they put in place for we. You feel say them roads there and things that we get for last.
Absolutely not. My brother, make I just draw you back. Make Sierra Leonean they know. Waiting this APC government do a loophole, then can't find about fixing roads. Because the international community ready for give loans for make roads.
Right.
So what they do from 2013, where President Ernest Bai Koroma been sacked according to Ram corrupt Almami Pepito Koroma. He said for corruption, he sacked him, the Minister of Works. When he sacked that minister there, from 2013 to recently, which is about a few months ago, not even 1 year yet, where the president and they run the ministry, kind of. The State House will run the ministry. So there's no minister. So what happened, every contract where the common other ministries there, it go through State House. In fact, where it include somebody for make a cancer of that ministry, and in one of his best body, where you will know the whole country know about cocaine saga and corruption, when Kemosi say, now you don't go get that ministry there. So in nine best body, I mean the best of friends. Where anything we can see and Eskromadi see. So now you don't go give. That clearly show what they do, then road there away you see, then they fix.
All right. So, with them, just like I will be explaining you now, of course, right now we get a special guest we get for talk to with today exclusively. Of course, this now a person way not new. Okay, and so me family and we don't talk now plenty one today, but how government supposed for handle the country money now the country, you know, and so the APC government don't talk plenty about, you know, waiting they don't do for Sierra Leone, including the road constructions where they don't do, including waiting make they not being succeed now the EITI, and of course we don't talk about plenty other fiscal responsibilities when it comes to governance. And so for level able for clarify most of these things where they don't talk about, we get for now bring in somebody where they manage the country in money in the Ministry of Finance, and of course now the former Minister of Finance na Sierra Leone. Now we get for bring come inside for able for clarify certain things then today, especially with regards to waiting the SLPP government being left na Sierra Leone and na the government before they hand over power to the APC government. And so stick around with us as we try for bring we guest right now. Stick around. All right, and so me family today we get for talk to no other person but Mr. John Oponjo Benjamin. Of course, like I wanna know Mr. John Oponjo Benjamin. Na ina be the former Minister of Finance na Sierra Leone. And they talk to we today live from Shebwema in the eastern part of Sierra Leone. Hello, Mr. Benjamin. How you do, sir?
My brother, they do very well. I just reached Shebwema. Come off with this morning. I go for one Paramount TV inauguration. I come body. I go Bauma for one berry hotel. I do come on there. Now I'm in Shebwema. I can't go Baola for another inauguration for one of you Tuesday. Wow. So I'd like to talk to you.
Right, so I know say today na a very busy day for you na Sierra Leone, and of course we appreciate you for letting you go able for squeeze we inside that your busy schedule day. We just want to talk to you briefly about a few things that we need clarifications on. Most of our viewers them around the world they ask that we talk to you specifically on some of the issues, and so we get for begin with waiting that your knowledge of where they Sierra Leone People's Party government they left power in 2007. You now be the Minister of Finance. Waiting at your knowledge of how the una been left the finances of the country before una the handover.
Well, Mecca, tell you boku thank you for this opportunity where you don't give me, and I wish I've been there free time. I get my briefcase near me. So I'll be for the talk and I quote you accurate figures. Right. I mean, I take over the ministry in 2005 and we do election 2007, we left. But during that 2 years we are there, we've been going through a lot of difficulties because we can't really be indebted to the tune of 1.7 billion. So there were international partners there. So when they go through some management controls where they impose on we. But luckily we're able to get over. By the end of 2006, we get what they call debt relief. They write off $1.67 million of that debt we've been get for pay. What that translates into is that we be they pay interest every year to the tune of $90 million every year. Now we pay, and then there's the whole get. So when you get that debt relief, you now get $90 million available to you, where you go use for anything. You not get for go no side for make you go look for money. So that is how we left the country. Now they hand very solid financial space. Now we make for them. But that besides, we also been able to call commercial debt. Or the whole with like then business companies them where they can't give debt to government. Right. Like American government, they send rest for you, there's other PF480, not debt. You get for pay. French people then come, they install pump, they you get for pay. Swedish people that come with lights, you get for pay. Japan, they give you ferry, you get for pay. Those debts at that time where I as Minister of Finance, they amount to over 750 million US dollars. So I mean, get for do separate negotiation for make them write off the debt. So I go Paris and they all sit down against me. They tell me why we're not for pay, and I took my time and not to be just the war because I tell them even before the war, big companies they will come. They take money for projects they can't install, and that project don't benefit to them in any way. They had failed. Japanese ferry there, they don't well, they're not the run anymore. We are still paying for them. You see, both they have a road where they make now all of them is inside, they don't scrap. So I took my time for explaining, apart from the war, these things where they do not be work. And we are still paying for them. And we don't come up from war now. How go develop ourselves if we still have to pay for things where the not of any use to we? So after that, I left. When they do their consultation, they give you 100% debt write-off in that area. 100%, the write-off everything. So that is how APC then come in. And during that time when they actually control una in terms of how they manage una finances.
Right.
Get money back when be they pay, when they pay, they be the keeper. They keep in the Bank of Sierra Leone. You see, so that when you reach where they don't write off the debt now, that money the Bank of Sierra Leone they make it available to you. But you can only use them with the permission of with international partners there. With IMF, you get for right to them, they give you special permission because now they actually get the money.
Right.
Now they actually get the money. So what did they happen? Before you use that, you can forget their permission. So at that time, when they let government back, we had 542 billion leones in the account in Bank of Sierra Leone. That money was there. In fact, the last 6 months of my term as finance minister, I began to go to America for make an ask for special permission because we be want for buy generators there. For make we can install na Freetown because we get light problem. So we decided say quick impact, make we buy generators. They want make a 2 megawatt generators there. Let we buy them for Freetown. We install them all over the place and east, central, and west. So that by the time we move on, they come on, we before use their machine for take them out into the provinces. Those who are the plans we get, we'll go ask for special dispensation for make the Alawi. They said no, because we go into election. If we do that, like campaign, we they try to use the money for campaign. So long wait after election. So they said no to us. And very interesting. Defeat the British government for make them even disburse money where they don't agree with we for make their support with budget. That last year, the government they refused to provide that support. Again, for go Ghana to my colleague, we don't die now. They intervene. We talk to the British High Commission and we believe they intervene. They say, well, past we present with audited accounts. And imagine we are coming from war, we will not be get professional people them. Now me employ a professional accountant. Now you there for come manage the accountant general in office. And we get for do we accounts. We are like 3-4 years backward. During the time we are there, now we do all of their accounts now. And normally when you do the account, you get for presenter to parliament. Before you go you go join it with her. We had to dispense of that for make the British people then see no more so that they go give you money. That did not work. So finally we are on what you call cash budget management system. Was I waiting with the collect from NRA, now we they spend so that we had to cut down we expenditure to a very big level. So we survive it all, we still able to do election and then so at the time where they come in really, I mean, they had a solid foundation. We had built institutions. And it just happened to say at that time, we also don't look at NRA. And for increased revenue collection at NRA, we devised a system. Which I would say, we'll now go charge GST. In fact, I mean, if we give that name, they will have to call them VAT. I say, no, local and GST. Goods and service tax. And how it works, most of the companies where they do business, well, I mean, some are good companies, but a good number of them, like I will be specific, like the Lebanese there, the companies there, where they deal with them, they get ownership now. So when they send invoice, something where they cost like $10, when the actual thing, when they send invoice for pay tax, they go charge at $1. So when they pay tax on $1, when then they sell now, they will don't work out the selling price for say this $10 now will be for pay 10%. So if they pay 10% on $1, they now work 10% on $10. They add up, then they add the margin. So that's how they overexploit the country. So we decided, okay, the thing we will do now, we'll just charge a minimum like landing fee, clearing fee, blah blah blah, based on your shipping document. But when you they sell the item, we are now going to charge you a percentage on the price where they sell. So if you are not selling your goods for $12, you don't work out your margin, you probably say that $2, you don't add that. We sell will take a percentage now of that $12. You see? Right. So that means we revenue now, instead of you now be the tax of $1, you are now taxing on the final price. So for make them cheat you in that angle there, it will be difficult. So that is how we also arrange that area there for make the revenue like more than 777 where they're going to get. We never had the opportunity to actually implement that. We just set it up and we left it for them.
Okay, right, God John, that brings me to this other question about the extractive industries transparency initiative when at the EITI. You know, we've been hearing from the former Minister of Finance in the APC government when Dr. Kefala Marabidi talks say the EITI was set up way back in 2004. And so I want for may you able for shed light on that too and tell we if now the SLPP government set her up before when they left and why when I set her up if that was true.
You see that a disaster we meet with where after we don't make all that effort, it comes for them in the hands of bad managers. The EITI way they talk about, Pakaba in his wisdom decides he go disclose because countries there they don't ban for sign that EITI. But if you as a poor country need help, now people them taxpayers money they give you, then you get for undertake for make you be transparent, make you be open, and make your accounts be audited by them in one form or the other. So Pakaba, not even 2004. The same way I did it in 2005, 2006, and that time Pakaba commit law for say we now will respect all the guidelines that we did give in that direction. What that means is in the the mining and extractive industry. What did they do, for instance, like Rutai? Rutai they come, they pay money to government, then they pay money to parliamentarians. Then they pay money to the paramount chiefs there. Then they pay money to other people there. So waiting the rule talk is all their own payments there, therefore make the documents available to these secretariats where they look at them. Then they can out to government for say how much money will I get from government. So we shall get for set up with your mechanism so that every money we'll get from Rutai, we get for make it available to these secretariats. Then they go compare for see whether waiting and the pay to we is equal to what would they enter that the government books.
Okay.
So that is how we set up that arrangement, and we set it up. I mean for make it cover all the mining sector areas there, so that it will be transparent to everybody, and they above even the president in control. Right. So that, for instance, like the petroleum unit where they set up, where they honor the presidency.
Right.
They don't talk say for make you can't buy a plot. Now $15,000 you could pay. Therefore, make sure say if you don't get a license, then indeed that $15,000 the book will show say you pay. If you underpay, then it will be reported. So now we undertake that venture there. Unfortunately, with all due respect to the former minister, when they come, the whole thing almost collapsed on their hand. But when we set it up at the time I was leaving, there was a big progress. What you can do now for check with the secretariat, make them able to tell you the difficulties they run into, because they had a lot of difficulties. For instance, like the chiefs there, they say, "Oh, I mean the money where they get for the chief, now they use as part of the payments and one." Because what you want to see is how much development are we getting out of all the exercise there.
Right.
If, for instance, take Sierra Leone, at the time I was there as minister, after the war be done, EU they come, they say that they help we as a poor country, then they give we a grant of 25 billion euros 25 million euros. We they give it as a grant. Now we put that into the mining area. If that was how the EV can now for say, let us sign this EIT. Because they say we give this would they give that this money here. We now use that for developing a mining sector as a priority area. Fortunately or unfortunately, now one company be there at that time, where mining company will be survived the war, will be in an operational manner, will have been still a route. So that they will be going to give that 25 million euro. And we say, therefore, use that as we own some form of shares that company did. Then, at the same time, for a few years, we get a tax waiver. We all forgo for add up to shares. And here we are now, as you know, they talk to you, we don't get 1% shares in that company. That money will be invested, had all sort of been mismanaged. But they tell us during that Ebola time, the pay off with shares, in fact, about $12,000 they pay for all with shares will be named in the company. Then it now became entirely a company where government not get no shares in it. And that is how they have been able to now sell the company from one policy to another. And the reason why we want to get shares in that company and for make government get a stake, so that at any point in time where that company they change hands, you have a stake, you have the first option. And if they want for sale, the price you don't satisfy with that, they will not sell because you are a shareholder. You see?
And so
all of that we have not started.
And so, God, John, the EITI would not say periodically they can do inquiry into all of these things, and in fact, every country get representation on the EITI. Wherein one they get representation from government, they get representation from the companies that way they do the mining, like you say, and then representation from the civil service. I mean the civil society. And so, right, yes. From the time where the SLPP be in power and you now be Minister of Finance, you remember at any point in time where the EITI then do an inquiry into how when be they manage the finances from then mining companies there, and waiting to be the stance of Sierra Leone at that time under the SLPP.
No, you see, in fact, that is what they are supposed to do. And when they check, they find out, say, most of what we are reporting, say now we get, was actually correct. Okay. And how they use the money, I mean, was also accounted for properly. You understand? I mean, because now we sign the agreement, now we say, in fact, they will do that investigation so that we will see, say, we are benefiting from the whole process.
Right.
And if we know the benefits, make them find out the loopholes so that we go address them for make the country benefit. So up to the time when we are living, there was a lot of progress because a new system you don't put in place. Now when they come, that was when the thing got stuck. Because first they did not want to go along with it.
Right.
As far as they're concerned, not anybody in business. So they did not, there was a lot of reluctance on their part. And in fact, the Secretariat did, if possible, you can find out from them. They will give you a track record of how they don't grow that place and what is the current status. You see, a lot of things that we have to be honest about that. They begin to manage the government on the basis of corruption. For instance, as they talk about NRA, this GST thing will put in place.
Right.
The first thing what they do, where they begin to implement the GST thing, one great man grab go Ghana, and he was Deputy Minister of Finance. He go give a contract for make them give receipts, make them make receipt book, GST receipt book. It became a big scandal. $6 million contract for just make receipt for GST. $6 million. Before they even begin collect 1 cent. So this tells you how we had really cheated this country. Because you don't begin collect it. And if
don't spend 6 billion, right?
If you have said you get GST customers, you tell them, say, look, we now make with your own receipt. You understand, eh? We will give you approval, say you like GST policy. It was not going to cost you anything.
So God, John, by your own understanding, you feel say na a lack of na ignorance as to how to manage the government, I mean the country, or na be just corruption for do that kind of thing, you know, for make them receipts and you know begin collect it.
You see, these people have been governing for over 20 years.
Right.
And their own style of governing was that they report to nobody, they do anything what they want to do. Because when we come in, one other thing we put in was asset declaration. You have to declare your asset. This was to drive fear into people that at the end of the day of reckoning will come. So when you come, you want to serve as minister, like I did, you declare your assets.
Right.
Then now we set up anti-corruption. And all those records are available to anti-corruption. We are thinking that anti-corruption will really focus on issues like that and devise ways and means of how you go track people. So that if you declare your assets, say where you don't come, you don't be a minister, your asset not come up to $500,000. If you they left now and they see say your assets they over $2-3 million, then anti-corruption will be able to talk to you. But they come and it just became like routine. They let everybody declare assets. So a lot of things were put in place, they just did it for the fun of it. But they don't mean them. Well, and some of the issues where they take, that deliberate corrupt act where they commit, okay, with no regard to the impact of the country.
Well, you know, the other claims back where the other claim where people that be claim back, you know, Mr. Benjamin, now the fact that the National Revenue Authority (NRA) now is supposed to collect all revenues in the country, but some miners they be the claim say they go pay money to the Ministry of Finance, some then they go pay to the Ministry of Marine Resources, and of course, why is the others then they pay to the NRA under the APC government? So that's not be one of the problems that we make they not succeed at the EITI. Is that how you were collecting revenues under the SLPP government?
In fact, what we do, because when we begin the EITI process, we say for easily monitor collection, we decide, say, NRA, I mean, all payments sort of should now go through NRA, so they go through one account. So we'll try to make sure, say, then ministries them, we now revenue generating ministries them, the payment procedure, we put NRA people in there, so that now therefore collect the payment and account straight it to government account. You see, so that it does not go to the minister of this per se. Or you get an NRA officer there, wait for collect money in the name of government and put it to the consolidated form. But when they come, now they scatter their things there again.
Right.
So that it becomes difficult to manage.
Right.
So these are teething problems we discovered, and we try to address them by consolidating the accounts during the time we maybe did. So at the time we they left, I mean that's the type of thing we did. You see?
And so, Mr.
So in fact, apart from that, also, make I tell you other things they won't do for them.
Right.
Apart from that, when we they left back, we had this issue of fuel price where they increase. Me and the Minister of Trade, now we the supervisor area there. So at that time, the Minister of Trade don't be there in the country. Now me supervise the BTO for make we increase the cost of fuel. And at that time, I discovered first day, the cost of fuel in Kwendu is like almost twice the cost of fuel in Freetown. So when we increase the price, I looked at it and said, no, but why we do this? Because fuel price, now the whole country will be the same. Because like beer, we are the buying beer now Freetown for 6,000-7,000. At the buy now should go by 6,000-7,000. So why fuel in for vary that manner? So we looked at it and said, no, that don't be the case. So we now pick the price now Kwendu as the price that we'll give for sell up all fuelers and drop that low price that Freetown, and that difference gave us a big margin. It gave us a big margin. So because of that, government decided to say we will open what we call strategic fund. We shall put that difference there, like where you get road users fund, we put that there, so that money go there no more purposely for make enable government later on for being fair on its own, so that it will stabilize the price structure a bit. Because anytime when they import fuel, if the price vary above like 5% or so, it will affect the pump price, and that be the great problem for we. So when we did that, we also decided that we did look at the cost of petrol, kerosene, and diesel, and instead of we left small differences where they make people that they mix their fuel there, we put all at the same price. So like now you go see say petrol they go for 6,000 a liter, kerosene they go for 6,000 a liter, diesel they go for 6,000 a liter. That was my idea. So we put all the price at uniform, and that differential will be there between the highest price and the lowest price also went into that fund. So at the time with the left government, we had over 15 billion euros in that account. We've been there for that we use for develop the country. As I talk to you, that fund is gone, and now what did they do? In fact, then when you look at the latest price where they get, they now get some amount where they collect. They say for development, nobody don't know whether they control that money there. So somehow, when you run an economy for a poor country like Sierra Leone, you get for look at the interest of the people, so that when you not begin talking about infrastructure, when in actual sense that infrastructure is making the people poorer and they deepen the poverty inside the country.
And so God John, yeah, that brings me to the issue of the road constructions under the APC government. We know say before the SLPP they left power, the SLPP don't begin for construct roads them, you know, in the country as well. So we want to know the money where the APC they use for constructing roads in Sierra Leone, whether the SLPP government may left any money in the coffers of government for going towards road construction in the country, or whether they take over and then spend money for constructing roads here whether they construct.
Well, what do you know? At the time we have been there, we as the government, when they do what you call international bidding, or they do their road them. When they bid, so that people the way they fund their road them, like the international financial institutions, they all they take part. So you know, just take contract and give somebody. Then they can forget that you experts for Kade. For instance, during the Tewo Day, now we do the McKinney road. Then we come back. Cambia, we don't give that contract. If we love the road, now we don't give the contract to one company. And then also, when I've been there as minister,
yeah, but they see the Maishaka, my 91 highway also. I've been seeing, I don't think that they.
Yeah. Yes, those are roads where now we don't get all the money, we then just come now for can open them. But those your contracts all given under SLPP banner. But apart from that, where I did, we be there as Minister of Finance. We go to World Bank. They give you a grant. This is not a loan. Give you a grant of $30-something million. And that money they now we use for resurface both Kedema Highway. Then that same money back we use for do the Makedi Matutuka Highway. So those are monies when we've been getting from World Bank as grant, not a loan, as grant.
And God by your knowledge, who will be the give contracts then to people there? Because they really say the contracts where the APC they give to people then this now we not don't verify it. Is that then the one that way they construct the roads, the Chinese them, then they charge $1 million, between $1 million to $2 million for every 1 mile of construction where they do. I don't know if Naso Wuna said they give a contract them, you know, way under the SLPP.
Well, you see, when you give a contract, it depends on the quality of road. I mean, the thickness of the road work way they do, the number of bridges. You know, every road gets in your own value, but on average, the average price where you look at that, they will tell you say a 2-lane road of this nature will cost you so much. If you do on a city, it will double because of the housing impact you get for pay for this, for that. If you do on a bush, it will cost you less. So all of those things are there. But when you compare the average to what is going on in our country, it is far above the average under APC. That I will tell you for free. And apart from that, why did they do down there now? Now, because, as I tell you, we now left a financial space for them of up to $90 million a year. The road, for instance, from Kenema to Kwendu, when I've been there, go to the Arab there, and the road was costing $110 million from Kenema to Kwendu. When I go to the Arab there, they show interest in them. We can do a meeting in Freetown. We say we can do fundraisers on it. They approve the road in entirety, but they say they go fund in 2 bits. One, they go do them for 55 million, we will go up to Penembo. Then why don't they go on, they go do the other funding, we will take her from Penembo to Kwendu. So we are going through that type of international process. But here we are, now you get $90 billion a year. What means if you want to do a road like what they want to do now, where they don't mortgage to the Chinese there for 25 years, you want to do a road, where is it a 4-lane road, not 2 road. That road they cost $150 million. And not any reason why they for say they for go and mortgage that road there, okay, to the Chinese for make the runner for 25 years. Then there's many Chinese there do and run for 25 years. When in actual sense, you can pay for it. Because from the 90 million where you get now, plus additional revenue, you go for pay for even in 2 years' time. But what they are now doing, like some of the roads where they do, like Hickory Road, then Freetown Road, these are roads where they fund from the government. So they're not going to go through any tender. Then roads are also where they do, now, like when they say that they tie the district headquarters 1,000. Those are roads where they fund from government. They're not going to go through it, and then to they do some of their things. So it make the road expensive, and it also make the quality poor. In fact, this is the reason why you see, say, at some point in time, they began for sack the Minister of Works and the Director General of SLRA, Munda Rogers. They sacked them because of some of the difficulties there, where they get for control that situation there. So somehow, now an unfortunate situation for say, when they come, I mean, the accountability system will put in place, they don't reverse all. And so this is why you are seeing like the when I'm the head of anti-corruption now becomes the Attorney General. So you go see say he was already part of the system, and that if it be effective enough, believe me, he is the one man who don't be for go near government self in any way, because you are there for seek the interest of the country, not that of government. You understand, eh?
Right.
But if you see you go into government, it means you are never seeking the interest of the country. You are seeking government interest. And
so, Mr. Benjamin, then contracts the way the APC government don't sign with the Chinese there, especially like for the toll road where you talk about for 25 years. You think, say, the next government coming in, that contract they bind on that government and the country as a whole, then get for uphold them, or they have a right to cancel the contract?
Well, you can review all of their contracts. I can tell you, for instance, when became Minister of Finance, we meet them, we don't sign an agreement with the Chinese there for make them do this to hydro. They were going to upgrade it from 2.5 megawatts to 4.5 megawatts. I don't remember the amount exactly, but like government was going to pay part of the money, then the Chinese company was going to provide the equipment and whatnot, and that was going to amount to about $3 million, something like that. So based on that, they had already signed an agreement that because of that, the Chinese they can't do the work, and then they manage the project just the way they want for Dunaya, and until they recover the money. So when I come, I go China, I met the company, I ask them how long they go take for ship. They say 6 months, they think they go reach here. So it was like 1 year for make the equipment they come and then they reach Salon. So when I looked at it that way, I said, no, they need nothing for make una bring Chinese that can manage that project. We will pay you. I can make arrangements. We pay them advance before they ship. Then when the team reach, we pay them some money. Then when they finish the installation, we pay them off. Wow. So we took over the business. There was no need for make you bring Chinese there for make them manage the hydro. We in actual sense you have Sierra Leoneans that can do the same thing. You there?
Right.
So we changed it, and at the same some of the agreements the way you sign. I mean, you can review them in different aspects for as long as it is in the interest of your country. For instance,
your call was ended because you no longer have sufficient funds.
Okay, and so me fam with the NT we don't talk. Okay, me fun with them once more, just like I've been telling when I say we get a special guest we'll get for Brinkham for talk to exclusively about the main opposition Sierra Leone People's Party, and of course also talk about Sierra Leone as a country and able for see if we go able for forecast into the future of the country with regards politics and everything where they go on. Not to other person with the Brinkham today. Of course, now somebody where we all almost are familiar with. Now somebody where they interact a lot on social media, on other areas them. And so we get for Brinkham for talk to you exclusively today about some of the most important issues in the country. And of course, we are talking about no other person but Mr. Andrew Kelly. Of course, Mr. Andrew Kelly, as we know, an engineer by profession. Now somebody where it all serves Sierra Leone in various capacities. Of course, on Self go talk about that one day. And of course, in one of the flag bearer aspirants in the SLPP, we want to be the presidential candidate for the party going into the 2017-2018 elections. And so now somebody who is very knowledgeable about the country. And so we get for talk to her now exclusively. And so for start, we want to welcome Mr. Kelly to Sherix Broadcast Network. Hello, Mr. Kelly. How are you doing, sir? Hello, Mr. Kelly. How are you doing, sir? Are you hearing us?
Oh, fine. Yes, Ibrahim, I get you loud and clear. Thank you very much. Okay. Thanks for inviting me.
All right. Merry Christmas to you in advance and your family. We know, say, Freetown, they almost turned to a festive city right now. How are things in Freetown right at this time?
Well, then okay, you know, say we like holiday in this country, so all man they look forward towards the Christmas. As much as things are difficult, but all man they look forward to the festive period.
Okay.
So it's okay.
Well, that's good. That's good. And so, without much ado, let's get right into the topic where we invite you now also for talk about the SLPP and Sierra Leone. Well, let's start with the SLPP. We understand, say, lower level elections be they go on at the country, where SLPP be they participating. And so you go able to give me a brief summary of how that lower level elections go, because we already say there is a court injunction. Where did they go on at Freetown, sir, with regards to that?
Well, what may happen, you get constituency elections where one faction of the party not being satisfied with the way we then go, they say they feed eager people them. So they report to PPRC. So based on their report, then they carry out the elections in any case, and the alliance faction go to court. They go to court for make them grant an injunction, because if they go ahead, if the election flawed, they go ahead with the subsequent elections, then
then it not gonna be right. Now the wrong people and the elect people them. So basically that case in a hearing on Thursday Friday this past week, and the court decided not for grant an interim injunction, but in any case for men and continue the hearing. So the hearing will continue back on Tuesday. So right now, yes, with the court, but secondly, there are still actions going on by the national executive. So that the case down there at the moment.
Oh,
very uncertain.
Okay, and so meaning that even after the injunction, because now this be the worry some people therefore say the courts don't put injunction on then lower level elections now the party, but still the elections be gone. You know, I don't know if that not been true.
Well, the court we grant an interim injunction, then but the national executive go ahead anyway and carry out the elections they are. We then go court on this past Friday. Then on the technicality, they say they now serve them the papers and so on. Then for some other reasons, the judge decides, say, well, make it leave the interim injunction, but at the same time, may then carry on with the case. So the case will continue on Tuesday. But meanwhile, the national executive will not carry out the elections, but the other faction, which is mainly people sympathetic to the alliance, feel say that's not right. So they're not happy about this. So right now there are two factions within the party. There is the national executive faction. There is also the other faction we're not happy with, which they happy.
Wow.
So the party is split right down the middle.
Right. And so we appreciate you for the honest talk. You know, I mean, talk to the Secretary General of the All People's Congress, Alhaji Fode Usman Yansane. If they brag for say, you know, it's we peaceful, not get problem, SLPP today say they go to court. And so you being a stakeholder, one of the flag bearer aspirants, you can feel some form of embarrassment that at the time when the party is supposed for the focus on internal arrangement, therefore able for set itself for the next election, that they go through all these legal problems?
Well, two issues. I believe, say, Ambassador Ansanena the wrong person for make comment about SLPP. Because their own problems said they can't get for Kamla APC. Then secondly, me convinced, as are many people, that the APC itself has a hand in the problem when it happens. So he should not be the one making any kind of statement. But having said that, I believe, say, most of the problems, the way they happen, self-inflicted. It's a pity that slightly over 1 year to the election, we still refer to SLPP, they will not get the way forward. And the only loser will be the party. Nobody else will the win. I mean, any faction we feel say that problem so they get now and then they're on top. An Pyrrhic victory, because basically it means the party would split going towards the general election.
And so the other thing is, Mr. Kelly, once we will talk to an SLPP person, now McKinney, it confirm and to we foresee and get strong intelligence where they tell and say the president and stakeholders in the APC, then they directly interfere into the internal activities of the SLPP by spending money on specific candidates. In fact, they name somebody as one Kefala Marawe, the governor of the Bank of Sierra Leone, for saying that they spend money on the SLPP, particular candidate for making go win as the next presidential candidate, because they feel say now the weakest candidate then they wouldn't go easily defeat. How you go able for verify that information when they hear something like that?
Well, no, me not able to verify that, but the only thing where I know, in some of the elections the way they take place around the country, there are some people where they're very close to the ruling party where we get very valid information from the supporters and say they were dishing out money in various areas in support of one particular candidate. The other issue as well is me being a member of the alliance, know for sure say, in most instances where we go to PPRC and to the police and to the government for talk about anything to do with SLPP, it appears as if they want for more continue for fair twist. I mean, there was a case whereby, for example, the PPRC say they give a letter. When we go there the next day, there was nobody around for me to give the letter. The person who for write the letter, then say he goes on wedding. the chairman, acting chairman was absent. You know, there's so many problems. We go to the police, we talk to IG Munu, who they tell and say, well, the chairman all right, say some of their elections they have to be deferred. He still allow them to go on. He said they're not going to interfere until we part of our business. So basically what the police seems to be saying is once you get different schools of thought within the party, then we just left with for more fair to self. Obviously there has to be a system, and if I go by that system. So I'm not going to no doubt say there is interference into internal affairs.
And so, you know, that brings me to this question about the All Aspirants Alliance. I know say before the All Aspirants Alliance, the AAA, they come into play, the party will go through a lot of internal issues there, especially with regards to violating the core values of the party, you know, violence, disrespect to elders, you know, that kind of thing. And so when I decide for put the All Aspirants Alliance together, we'll go on for me you talk to us briefly about that alliance. First of all, what will be the basis upon which the alliance was formed?
Well, you know, from the last case where we get with Ambassador Adibangura Bingo Court, when they give a ruling on that case, it appeared as if the national executive, a lot of them be holding to one great person. And then they make decisions and in my own opinion, not in the interest of the party. And so we, you forgo by the party in constitution. Sanity can the party not for be divided. So some of women feel since the national executive not they play that role, and since the normal moral guarantors we get at the party, the elders council and other people now they also play that role. We need to come together. So the alliance basically there for constitutionality. Basically they make sure say we adhere with the rules and regulations of the party and will not depart from the national constitution. And also them values that what we get SLPP, we say we are one country, one people, will not spoil them. So that the alliance stands for constitutionality, peace and unity in the party. But in doing that, because the national executive, in my own opinion, not they behave like a proper national executive, we can therefore see various groups like PPRC, like the government, we engage the media, we talk to stakeholders, so that's what they're for. Obviously, people now misinterpret the thing, say the alliance now something where a group of aspirants and gang up against one aspirant. It's not like that. If in getting together, it happens that these aspirants find something in common, they want to get together, that is fine, but that's not the primary reason for the alliance. The primary reason is constitutionality within the SLPP.
And so, maybe on the way, one of the members of the AAA, they talk, and one of the talks that we talk, I've been so like was that after we don't talk about the way we wanna come together and wanna put this alliance together and wanna they work together, we don't talk about all of those beautiful things that you guys have done. It end up in conversation as, but I don't tell and say, I'm the best candidate, so may them vote for me. I love that. Because even though we are all our candidates and when we work together, but when I get individual ambitions, then we know they unbug the work of the party. I love that. And so when they interview one of the other flag bearer aspirants in the person of retired Brigadier Julius Madabio on AYTV, he condemned the idea of the AAA. And so far, I want to know from you if we have been reach out to Ram, or when I don't ever try for reach out to Ram for make you can join una, so when I go able for continue for do the work or una the work.
Well, first of all, me on the personal note, not got any problem with anybody. In the Abio, we don't try for meet on several occasions. Some of we don't meet on a private capacity, talk about party issues. But when Bishop Humber been get this peace initiative, right? He tried for call and for come, we all meet up in Nakuna Lodge. It not been find impossible for me to come. And several times we don't invite him for Canada the Alliance. He say he not go join the Alliance, 130 people a day. So it appears as if he has a personal problem with the Alliance. So I left down there with him for explain. But commonsensically, anybody go ask say, if all you come in one group and say and stand for constitutionality, why you for keep away from it? Is it that you don't believe in that, or Is it that you get such big personal differences that you can't bring yourself or talk to people? Me not believe, say, in a party, people that we want leadership, even if you don't like the other person, or even if you get a different outlook to the other person, I believe so now for able to go around and engage. So I left that question there to Brigadier Bill, but I don't understand why it not be part of the alliance. As we always say, if he wants to join the alliance, he's always welcome, as long as he keeps to the tenets of the alliance.
And you know, when I talk to him, one of the questions we asked was, waiting at the structure of the alliance, wouldn't at the leader, wouldn't at the secretary general. So it looked like, say, he not really understand the organizational structure of the alliance. I mean, to me, I feel say there is no specific structure. And so you go on for talk about Andy briefly. Maybe you go get the chance for watch this video, and so you go get the clear understanding of that.
Well, that's the beauty of the alliance. Get over 10 people, everyone smart for the leadership, then they get together with a whole meeting, with a rotate venues. We get different people and share. We all contribute towards the alliance initiatives. We all encourage the supporters of even the other people. So the alliance, to me, is not about who leads the alliance. The alliance is, are we doing enough to make sure that this constitution, this party is being run on a proper constitutional basis? Are we making sure that we are addressing other issues within the party? Because not forgetting not only leadership being at the party, you have to build up the structures at the bottom. You have to build up the administrative and financial capacity of the party. You have to make sure, say, the party get a good outlook towards other people. For example, the alliance will engage members of the international community on several occasions. We don't talk to ambassadors, we don't talk to various people. We don't espouse the views on policy issues. We don't encourage people within the party. So we are doing a lot of good things. The fact that we not get a leader no matter. If in the long run the alliance decides, say, that's what we want, and we're able to get a unified leadership, that is fine. But I want to reiterate, say, not to, something against anybody. The alliance there for constitutionality within the SLPP.
Right. And so, Mr. Kelly, I want for, based on your own personal assessment of SLPP as the political party, you go able for tell we if this party are based on waiting they go on inside the party right about this time, that the party still get a chance for able to form the next government of Sierra Leone.
That make a very, very sad at what they happen now at the party. One thing they were, I can always say, unless we get together, whichever faction we did, to listeners, unless we get together as a party, we are not going to win the 2018 elections. And it shows from the performance in by-elections that all the areas, north, east, southwest, we have not performed well. We have not performed well. Other newer parties have performed better. And that is simply because we refer to self. Even when you put up candidates, if the candidate is sympathetic to one faction, other people are defeated or they're lackadaisical about it. So we also not able to build up the party in structure, organizational structure, because we refer to self. We also not even able to raise funds for the party because we refer to self. Even at the very basic level where we've been getting lower level elections, where generally for be by consensus, we base our on flag bearership. So the whole issue of flag bearership now don't come over this party. And I don't know when this party will turn like that. And if we not disabuse ourselves of that, if we continue so, and feel say that if we just go coronate one person, once you coronate that person, SLPP's problems is solved, it's a lie. When you look at the last constituency election, you know, say it was flawed in certain areas because people had set up parallel executives and so on. But when you actually look at the results, there is a big divide between the southeast and northwest. There is a big divide between certain factions. There are some notable members of the party who don't serve this party for years. People discourage them. So how are we going forward and fight as a unified force? And this they happen now with the court. Obviously, the faction where they court agree that what has happened and you want to redress. If that is not addressed, we just go forward, say we'll go hold subsequent elections and we'll go coronate somebody. Are we going to have a unified party going forward? So me, they look as an avid member of this party, say we are heading towards the precipice. If we're not careful, we not put we act together, we are all going to be losers in 2018. Honestly, Ibrahim.
Right. And so, you know, Mr. Kelly, in the during the time where we not been small picking all the grow up, and well, you know, after 1991, where, you know, the SLPP begin for participate in politics again, you know, we've been in Sierra Leone. Now then, the way, if something they go wrong inside the SLPP, we been get elders, then people that we been get reputable people, respectable people within the party, where they go able to forget that all the one that way the problems they hover around and able to sit them down and talk to them, and anything where they tell them, they're not they deny them, they accept, and then the party moves forward. You want to tell me if we getting kind people inside the SLPP right now?
Well, you know, this is a very interesting question, because right from the last flag bearer election, now we don't begin bastardize some of their institutions that they. Some elders, they take sides, and they support violence against other people, they do various things. And you know, Peter Tucker will say one thing. He said, when you're an elder, even if you want somebody, you know they show up. Because otherwise, people they know, okay, case go to you. So anyway, we don't move on from there. We don't come to this now. A lot of elders will tell you, say, they want the way not they support a certain faction. Then they cost them. There was a time when the party office been closed to certain people. So right now, you don't really get elders who go to go say, sit down around a table, talk to people that will respect you. Because certain factions and they don't respect certain elders. So this might not happen at the party. Not only the elders, when you even talk about the legal advisors within the party. When you get about 4 legal advisors in the SLPP, their views and they're different according to the flag bearer aspirant and they support. Where them for they look at the law and interpret them for we, then they interpret them the way they see them for favor the flag bearer. So all the factions and the steps they will forget at the party, the elders council, the legal advisors, the national executive, NEC, everybody has taken sides. And people are way for be moral guarantors within the party for that sides. It not bode well for the party. We're going to carry on, then we're going to coronate somebody, but is that good for the party? Will we have unity for the party, in the party to fight a formidable foe like APC? May I tell you something, Ibrahim? Even where APC they perform so badly now, the fact remains that they have a lot of advantages. They are the incumbent government, they get a lot of resources, they can able to buy people over, they get the capacity for men and get together within the party. They can do a lot of things. So if then they divide we, then they help divide we, then we say they take that thing that they divide we as well. It not bode well for this party.
Right. Exactly. And so we know we get some other young people them inside the party. We now are very focused, well-to-do young people in the party what we don't talk to. Then they express their fear, then they express their frustrations with the direction in which the party they head. And some of them don't even talk, say, they're not going to put their own future on the line for a political party where always they encourage problem. And so when I ask them what do they mean by that, they're not able to explain to me, but what me able to forget from that is that then can youth then they will go potentially be the future leaders of the SLPP are potentially going to leave the party and go other side where they feel say na they then future day. Waiting SLPP need for do for actually able for retain then kind members then they were very precarious right now.
Well, first of all, you have to divide them youth into the one them when grassroots people where they support various people and the other one that we probably they're fortunate now they get a higher level of education and they get work and so on. When you take the grassroots people into consideration, we have to really try to educate them. For men and sisters, the party is not about individuals. The party is about getting together as a unified party, one country, one people. We get together, we get the administrative structure, the one way they support SLPP, we put them in positions of responsibility. Well, ultimately, we get a flag bearer, and then on the icing on the cake, we all go support whoever wins the flag bearer election. But for being intolerant and say you're not going to accept anybody past 1 grain per se, all right. And a lot of young educated brothers them as well, when they're young, they can be lawyers, they can be engineers, where they think say, they for reality don't get together as a group and tell we the elders and say, look, this nonsense will stop. We they set good example. Some of them also know they set good example. And to me, like two-way street. They're not going to just left sit down and wait for we for solve the problem. Now we all go for sit down and solve this problem, Ibrahim.
Right. And so that takes me to the APC as a government. You know, on the way I do a research, I come up with something where I able to understand, say, in 1967, after we Samiti Magai died in 1964, the Albert Magai take over the government. One of the things they do predominantly, even though that SLPP government at that time, they do very well with the economy, with the education, with everything. But then the Albert Magai they undermine the paramount chiefs then when then the bedrock of the formation of the SLPP. And so because of that, the 1967 election, the SLPP lost some to the APC, then coup then came inside and all of that, all the way to 1969, where then bring back Shaka Stephen for takeover. And from 1969, we take over now, all the way to 1992, APC be in power. So APC be in power since independence of the country up to 35 years. And SLPP don't just stay in power for 17 years. Now, this, you know, if you say this for be a wake-up call to the APC for understand, to the SLPP for understand, say, the same thing will be happen back, now they happen back again, wherein APC get for day in governance for many, many years, and I saw the people that will continue for so far.
Well, the most disappointing part of it is what APC they do for derail democracy. You know, say when I get a young club, Pakaba nine help bring them together.
Right.
Try to get a level playing field.
Yes.
Some people then say, even from Obera be mentioned and say, well, Kabab be very democratic. It's not only because of the democratic credentials that APC not in a power today. So Kabab did everything from where you get a level playing political field, and he do a lot of things for build up with democratic structures. ABC, they slowly dismantle all the structures. And look at the Constitutional Review Committee where they set up. They set up the thing when I follow up on the Peter Tucker thing where we been doing SLPP. A few years down the line, when they don't get the reports and they can't dispute now, and they rub all kind of nonsense and just discover and say he bias because they want to forget their own way. Look at what is happening with the electoral process. Where up to now we're not sure about certain things where they take place. Where national elections watch they post them for and fix a definite date in February for the elections. Look at a lot of things where they happen for disadvantaged we as an opposition, and yet still we get the suspicion say they are meddling into your own internal affairs. A lot of things that if court case go, SLPP court case go to court, you can't really depend on the judiciary for make you get a fair hearing. Make a keep the party going forward. Always forge the issue one way or another. A lot of the democratic institutions that we get, National Commission for Democracy, all the one, and they play government in two. So basically, then they slowly dismantle everything we build for enhanced democracy in this country. And basically, what we will lead up to, if we take that and bet, we continue for fair to team we allow them for Kanye back in 2018. They are going to be there for another 10 years. That is basically the death of SLPP. Now, these people do not realize. Now, that make me all this infighting, irrespective of whichever faction we do, Ibrahim. If we think twice about the good of SLPP, because there is no winner. There is no winner. The only winner will be APC. That's why they want to see us divided. And make we think about it very carefully. It's still not late. With all the problems they get more things say, look, you go ban election for main faction win. You carry them out, you carry parallel election, you set up thing, you pass something and neck, you go, you get your flag bearer. If the other people within the party not satisfied, we're going into the elections as a divided force, Ibrahim.
Right. And so, Mr. Kelly, like what American can say, this solution, there is a silver bullet to this solution. So, with all the problems where they go on inside the SLPP, waiting you think say now the silver bullet a solution for solve the problem, so all man go come back together?
Well, I'll let you expression, but I don't say we'll get silver bullet to it will be little measures that we go build up into that silver bullet.
Right.
Of course, the peace initiatives them may not think say they're dead right now. I mean, Bishop Omba not go call people again and go there. But K not go call people and go there because the party is so polarized. Everybody bent on election. There are factions now where they say, more get to election, more go flag there, all man will come round. So that perception they will go round. But what thing we need for realize, and that we go for realize on both factions. Now we get a level playing field in these elections when they happen. Now we make fair decisions based on the SLPP constitution. More will not depart on that. Now we also know say the public are looking at us. All the squad will say, oh, they get the public. Then they look at you and say, we're not even electable. Every day I meet people in the street and say, APC know they do well, but we're not able to get to act together. So basically, we have to get a level playing field. Now we just realize, say, irrespective of who in the back, let we get a level playing field so that when that person will in the back win election, everybody go there behind and the party not going to be divided. That's all we're calling for. And that not need a peace conference. It just need a realization that when Benton and it happened, we not for encourage them. Let we go. Party constitution very clear on certain issues. National constitution very clear. Very clear to bring peace and the party. That is what we need to keep to.
Right. And so finally, we, you know, when we closely take a look at the APC and the style of governance and see the close relationship to the Chinese government, we almost conclude for say APC is a communist party as well, because most of the things that they do feel like what in China they do. China, they oppress the people there, they don't believe in democracy, they don't believe in decentralization, all of them things and they happen. But so this they worry a lot of people for say even the 2017-2018 elections, maybe even if it take place, it will take place in a way wherein the APC go on for turn that entire result in their favor. As a political party, people that don't question the participation of the SLPP parliamentarians within a parliament, when are then for the stand up for argue on these issues. Waiting a your personal take on how the SLPP opposition party parliamentarians in parliament don't try for really stand for the rights of the people, the rights of the political party, the policy positions of the SLPP so far.
Well, first of all, two questions in one. The first one about the parliamentarians. I will tell you, say, parliamentarians very divided. You already know, say, for 42 parliamentarians, they're split into two factions because of all that to be involved, fight against the minority leader and so on. So basically, they know they make decisions as a united force, and we they in the minority in a parliament. The second thing is also you need to build up that nexus between parliament and the party. The party for discussing parliamentarians waiting at the party position on certain issues. Because of this polarization, that not happen. So individual parliamentarians, they speak on their own. The party said they speak on their own. So we are divided. Also, when you look at there are accusations that maybe APC or the government, they get to some of the parliamentarians. So they basically, they talk to in the interest of with party or the nation. Having said that, there are a few good people where they do good things, so not to the all bad. But coming to the issue of China, getting a rapprochement with China not necessarily a bad thing. But China then they behave different. Whereas the West they demand accountability in many areas, where they not begin to put the squeeze on government, there is a suspicion that the Chinese not going to be not going to pay too much attention to accountability. But having said that, the Chinese can help a lot with the building of infrastructure, with various things that they do. Now, we no longer for watch say whatever then they do, they in the interest of the country, that will not mortgage the natural resources for pittance, that will not just go into a deal where go live with people that are impoverished in future. So each agreement therefore be taken on a case-by-case basis. If the government they look at their approachment with China as a means of balancing and saying, oh, because then people they ask you questions, more do what you want for do with governance, with poor governance, we'll continue after we go to the Chinese or give money, then that is the wrong notion. That is very bad, and we'll fight against that. Having said that, not necessarily a bad thing for receive Chinese help, but that now one area where we party with parliamentarians need to look at things on a case-by-case basis, and whatever happens, whatever we get approachment with, make sure say we government is accountable. There are lots of internal accountability mechanisms. Auditor General report day, the parliamentary committee day where they look at their issues, and they even you get oversight committees. We know what they happen in this country. None of us say we don't know what they happen. Hold the people responsible. Hold the government by its feet. Let them put their hand to the fire. But that is not happening at the moment because we are divided as an opposition. And when we divided as an opposition, now civil society no more now the fed to fed. But even civil society divided. With civil society divided, the opposition divided, we the fed we say whole day with the perfect fed, we feel say everything about flag bearer issue. That's APC fine. Right. And we just continue. I mean, we not away. So APC man will say, hey, bro, we will go with your candidate inside with your party. But how can he say that? It means they are making it out again.
Exactly. And so, you know, about the case where they sacked a vice president of Sierra Leone don't take to the ECOWAS court. It don't ask for 210 million in redress fees for, you know, if you win that case. And so here we are going towards national, presidential, and parliamentary elections in the country. Let us assume that the SLPP is... Quite recently, we see, say, SLPP, they operate two different groups right now, even though a lot of people, they talk, say, the elected national chairman and leader in your own group, now the legitimate group. But we go on for level, you give me an idea about what actually they happen inside the SLPP with regards to these two groups that they are talking about. I mean, when they talk about Dr. Prince Harding, now the national vice chairman and leader of the party, in your own group day, then of course Chief Somano campaign in your own group day. So which group SLPP members therefore operate with?
In terms of the question we pose, me now one person at least conversant with the constitution of the Sierra Leone People's Party, especially the Amen. Prior to the current amended constitution of the party, the SLPP constitution make provision for the leader when are the presidential candidates and the deputy leader when are the vice presidential candidates. Then he make provision for a chairman when are the administrative head of the party, while the leader are be the political head of the party. At some point in Kenneman, when we get a national convention, when we try to revise the constitution, me and one person will be staged against the issue of merging the provisions of the leader and the chairman of the party. And at that material point in time, we will stage a walkout because we believe, say, combining the functions of the leader and the chairman was a bad precedent. But then at that material point in time, the chairman and leader of the party, then when Mr. John Uponjo Benjamin and others may say differently. So we had to combine both functions. So as I speak so now, the SLPP constitution as amended make provision of the chairman and leader. And the chairman and leader now both the political and the administrative head of the party now. Before this time, the leader and the presidential candidates were responsible for the political aspect, while the chairman and the administrative. So now that you have a chairman and leader, both functions have been combined. So when you combine them functions and you go further for say, now they preside over meetings of the National Conference, the National Executive Council, the Policy Council, etc., and in they uphold the constitution of the party. When once you consider all of them functions and they put together, then you find out the chairman and leader get enormous functions at the party. So when the National Executive Council recently goes down in the presence of the chairman, where EBC not go out of the jurisdiction, then convene a meeting of the National Executive Council without the chairman even approval, they find out the legitimacy or the legality of that particular Executive Council become questionable. Of course, as a former Secretary General of an organization like the SLTU, the Labour Congress, and also a Deputy General of the party, you find out there are various aspects where NEP can be convened. The National Secretary General of the party, now in consultation with the chairman and leader, with someone in meeting of the National Executive Council, and one instance. In another instance, you will get a meeting of the National Executive Council, who side and will take a resolution stipulating another date for the meeting of the National Executive Council as the one way the current executive decide for performance. For say, yes, at some point in time the executive met and they put a date for a meeting of the National Executive Council, which means in effect for them, the national chairman indeed are not get right for change that particular aspect. And I always say now, because some people are not able for know now, but see both the functions of the political and administrative have been combined. When once the national chairman and leader, according to the current constitution, no say certain aspects of the party, not they go the way they go for you go use the political aspect of the function for able for come to waiting to happen. So to be specific, the last national executive side they will suspend the national chairman and leader. I must say particularly that particular party executive council is not constitute legally. So if you have an executive headed by Prince Harding, and that was the Chief Somano Capen, and still one for in terms of absolute legality, Chief Somano Capen, now in and still the national chairman and leader of the party.
Right. And so, Mr. Timbo, with everything we do explain and with your knowledge of the constitution of the SLPP, you know, all meetings of the National Executive Council, if I understand you well, should be chaired by the national leader and chairman. Am I right?
Especially if you live within the jurisdiction.
Okay.
That's not one in the world, that's not one.
And so, you feel say any instance they wherein if the national chairman and leader not attend such meeting, that other people on that executive go meet and take a decision that is binding on the party?
Yeah, if the national chairman and leader is within the jurisdiction, you're fully aware about the meeting, the sanction, meeting, then yes, the deputy chairman and leader can decide, and that particular meeting can be legal.
Okay. And so then say the meeting of December 17, they say that chairman, the national chairman and leader, Chief Somano Capen, I called that meeting, but later I canceled the meeting, but then go to the meeting anyway. So in fact, then they talk, say, now he called the meeting and they attended the meeting. And so whilst he was not there, you know, they went ahead and held the meeting and came up with resolutions. And so because of that, then we say the meeting was well constituted.
I don't know about that.
Right.
The chairman indeed not ever tell me that he convened the meeting and he not attend.
Okay. And so we see say Namieta Conference Center, the national chairman and leader began for call the properly constituted NEC meeting of the SLPP. And so resolutions then come out of that meeting. But we they now eagerly wait for see if the chairman go back to the party office and begin to operate from there. You did see any sign of that happening very soon?
Well, Sherix be not a member of the executive as at now. I know they within that, so I know you for tell category whether in fact I see any aspect of that, especially now when I are out of the country. That's entirely a matter of the leadership of the party itself and Chief Somano Capen and your own executive.
And so with regards to the SLPP All Aspirants Alliance, some of we began to talk to some other members of the alliance, and we understand say the reason why the alliance was formed now before able for bring the party come back together, because all of the issues will be they go on inside the party be they hover around flag bearer aspirants. And so when I decide for come together for ensure say when I send a clear message to when I individual supporters them. But it looked like, say, retired Brigadier General Julius Madabi Young Camp not be understand this. And so, what's in the current relationship between the alliance and that of Madabio in group?
As I talk, so for all I know, the alliance will still lay together. As you rightly mentioned, the objective of establishing the alliance is precisely the carry explain and so. We don't take a cue from the previous experience we get, starting from Solomon Bewa, when he win the convention, and Charles Magai and others deflected, and Enogia and the support we need to be coming back to opposition. When that one be done, we get that experience. The last convention, which we all participate also as aspirants, there will be 19, where the Osmada will be win back. We will see a situation which plenty of the other aspirants they get for come out by the party, and they end up for make some scathing remarks against the leader. So when we take all of the aspects and the consideration, I make this time around for some of we where the new bid for the presidential candidacy of the party. We say, okay, now that some people don't begin come out, it is important that we establish a forum which we will dialogue among themselves so that we will promote understanding and comradeship. And we will expect, say, as a result of the fact that Bishop Humper Group and all other peace initiative groups then come together for make them facilitate that, we all probably make use of that particular opportunity. Well, I already mentioned retired Brigadier Julius Manab, you not be seeing that like they not be joining the alliance. So we joined the alliance because they can be so particularly I believe in its establishment, and as a result of the fact that they are the alliance, we don't be able to get a lot of understanding among themselves, to the point that as they talk so, some of the members of the alliance have said we come closer to the issue itself. Some of them decide to say, okay, now then they drop their ambition. This was what we were expecting. So when all of we did inside, and at some point in time, we will see yourself as brothers and sisters, and probably drop your ambition and harmonize your aspiration. That was the purpose of the alliance actually. But when Julius Mother will not be joined, he be mentioned, say him now join the alliance because no one is that in history. But there have been coalitions, even in the Gambia and other countries than before. This time, where people in the form coalitions, partnerships, then for the purpose of achieving a common objective. And I believe that that particular aspect is not been too different. So, if, as they ask me, as at now, without with the yes, I must say, we stayed inside the alliance. Last week, we participated in the process society, say some of the members of parliament want for me to do and talk to we with respect to our various ambitions and see how they will be able to bridge the differences among us for make we step we will come together. So as I left Freetown, I left that particular process they on, we are still intact. Dr. Jonathan Tembe, we in Qatar, we in England, will not be able to have that meeting today. I understand say tomorrow they will get that meeting today, which I intercept today. At the time when I'm in an airport, I get a call from 98.1 where they get to tell me, say, that Brigadier Julius Mother Bill, don't say now it is extend over just to the alliance. Of course, in response to that person, I was not sure because I not been there inside. But then, if that was the case, as I rightly say, I don't know what you bring about the change. Because initially, you mentioned was a peace and dialogue now will come pass after the convention. But given the situation as it is in politics, situations are always necessary, and we work on that. So as of now, I know the alliance exists, and at the same time, I know Julius Mother Bio, them in the program for meet the people stop. That was the situation where I left Freetown before I came here. All
right. And so looking at the country itself, you know, with your own personal assessment of everything where they go on inside the SLPP, you go able to tell me if SLPP actually get a chance for be a viable alternative to governance in that country come 2018?
In terms of being a viable alternative, we don't feel that particular aspect there. Because at the time we were supposed to provide the kind of leadership in the camp of opposition, we don't feel that particular aspect there. That notwithstanding, it is not actually too late. But when you take a look at the current division where it takes place within the party, it will not take time and time to see how we can harmonize their aspirations then quickly. I must say, we will definitely disappoint the vast majority of the people of Sierra Leone. We actually look out for a credible alternative based on the current situation where they exist in the country.
And so currently, we don't get this report where come up from Statistics Sierra Leone about the 2015 population and housing census where they're conducting at the country, and they don't distribute the population coming out with the numbers as Northern Province having more people, seconded by Eastern Province, third by Western area, and fourth by Southern Province. And politically, that they tell we say when, even though they're not on release yet, the ages, the specific ages of people that we then count, you know, per that report, because a provisional report we don't see force. And would they see say the stronghold of the SLPP when at the southeast not get too many people as compared to the northwest when at the stronghold of the incumbent APC. And so which mechanism where you feel say SLPP as a political party go able for use for dent into the northwestern votes?
Well, the issue of the disparity in terms of the population as well as voting population, not until they begin. From 1996, when SLC do the voter registration, the figures in 1996 to 2000, 2007, they're almost the same in terms of variance. You know, the 2007 figures should say the South get about 521,000 registered voters, the East about 563. We make a total of about 1 million and some thousand, while the North get about 921,000 and the Western area get about 673,000. So that particular disparity always exists. This particular period in time when they don't do the census, it just shows you the